won't you just? Now won't you just? So come on.
We're cruising down 45. We're cruising down 45. So won't you take a ride?
Just come on.
With me, baby. We're cruising down 45. We're cruising down 45. We're cruising down 45.
I'm on 45 with my 45.
And hey, everybody, season 2 of 45 Live Podcast, keeping it real in Mobile on the People's platform. And we hear from alabamahiphopradio, a new way to listen, with my special guest today, Spiro
Cheriogotis.
Cheriogotis. Cheriogotis.
So it's easy. If you think of a Greek goddess, you sit her in a chair.
Cheriogotis. Okay, I get it. Okay, then. Well, thank you for coming on the show. Of course, Mr. Spiro is running for mayor of Mobile, and I'm so honored to have him here on the 45 Live Podcast show. Thank you, sir, for coming.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, okay. Hey, man, it's an honor. I just want to ask you, first of all, Cheriogotis, what nationality is that?
It's Greek.
Greek. Cheriogotis.
Yeah,
I get it. Okay.
Like a Greek goddess, yeah. Spiro's Greek too, named after a Greek saint.
Okay.
And Cheriogotis is like Greek people from the island of Cherigo or something like that.
Is that like you're part of your heritage?
Yes.
That's your blood.
Yeah. So my great grandfather was the first Greek to immigrate to America.
Okay.
Made his way down to Birmingham.
Wow.
But he died really young. He died
Really?
I want to say he was less than 40. Had back then in the 20s, he got a kidney infection.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear that.
And so then his family, his wife, my grandfather, Spiro, and his sister, Angelula, moved back to Greece. Because women didn't really work much back then, and they moved back to Greece to be back with family just in time for World War II.
Oh, wow.
Nazis invaded and occupied Greece, really tried to starve the Greek people, but my grandfather was a citizen. He was born in Birmingham, so he came back, so he kind of re-immigrated to America. Joined the army, and then worked very hard, mainly in the restaurant business, to get enough money to bring his mom and sister back over. And
wow. I love Greek food.
It's good, man.
It is.
Yeah.
It's healthy. A lot of it's healthy. Yeah, lamb. Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, what your upbringing, your resume, because this will be a job interview from the urban community point of view.
I hear that.
Yeah, so, just give us a little rundown of, your bio.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Dothan, Alabama. Still South Alabama. I understand it ain't the same as Mobile.
L.A., Lower Alabama.
Still Lower Alabama. Public school kid my whole life. Started working in our family business. We had a vending and catering business, so like snack machines, Coke machines.
Okay.
And I started working in that, forever, but I say at 9 is when I really started working every summer there. Rode on drink trucks, go around to all the factories and fill up their machines. We started at 3 a.m. back then. So
wow, yeah.
I was about 11 when I started running that route, and I was riding. I was helping. I wasn't driving. But man, just growing up in that family business, with all sorts of folks. We had people from every background working for us. A lot of people working hard, a lot of people living paycheck to paycheck, a lot of people who we tried to treat like family.
So you come from humble beginnings.
I do. And we had some real tough times.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I grew up wanting more and hungry, and thankfully the Lord blessed me with a good brain, and I was able to do really well in school. And I'll tell you, I was going to go to I went to college, went to Alabama. Studied biology and chemistry.
Oh, okay. I bet that was fun.
It was really interesting. I don't know what it qualifies.
So you had to be good at math.
I was good at math. Science just always interested me. Of course, history. I like history too. But
me too.
But science, always just. And also, people said it was hard, so I'm like, well, let me see if I can do something hard. And I was going to go to med school because, frankly, we grew up our family business struggled. You know, my dad had some legal troubles. I don't know if you ever heard about that, but it led to business troubles too, and it led to them having to rebuild their business from scratch.
Oh, wow.
And so that's when I was working there, and my grandmother was the bookkeeper. My granddad was really, you know, kind of our chief operator, CEO. And my dad was out there grinding every day. And
Absolutely.
had about 190 to 100 employees, and you know, just try to treat people like family, because we depended on them just like they depended on us. And I was, you know, it taught me to respect people and the difficulties they face, and you know, want to help them build a better life. But
yeah, so you're real big on small businesses and entrepreneurship, so you know what they go through.
Huge.
Absolutely, absolutely. I get it, man. Well, we're gonna get into these questions because we got a lot of people that inbox me with questions, and I'm gonna start off asking, what strategies are you gonna be implementing to address the food deserts that have emerged in low-income neighborhoods, particularly regarding the scarcity of grocery stores?
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm thankful for my family business. You know, not my family, Lucy's family business is, of course, Greer's grocery stores. And, you know,
staple of the community with over 100 years.
You know, the truth is, if it weren't for Greer's, we'd have more food deserts. You know, Greer's is the only grocery store in a few areas, both in Mobile. You know, you look down the bay.
Even downtown, even.
Downtown.
You know what I'm saying?
Downtown
now that you're having the residential, you know what I'm saying? I think I'm going to see more grocery stores and more retail stores. I think on St. Louis Street.
I'm praying for it. You know, I think we need more people living downtown. I think it makes sense for our city. We got a really walkable downtown. You know, it's a good place to live. Yeah, so fighting food deserts is a great question. I'll tell you one thing I really like the idea of is going into some of our food deserts and building community gardens. You know, a lot of it is you can get fast food and processed food, but you can't get a lot of that produce and natural food. And I think there's something beautiful about kids seeing, you know, a plant turn into a fruit, turn into food, or vegetable. I prefer the fruits. And, you know, and a community garden can be something that a community can rally around.
And
you know, a nice, beautiful place to enjoy. And so it's something I'd like to install a few. I got a couple plans. There's definitely an area in Africatown that I want to see one built.
Okay.
I think it would be great for that community. You know, something where kids can get out, help weed the garden, you know, help pick the food, help plant, and see something grow. I think there's something powerful
about that. That's quite an experience. Yeah, I tried to grow a watermelon just to see it come up. It didn't get big.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't have enough fertilizer or whatever, but
I had one. It took me 3 years, and I got one, and it was a big one. Man, it tastes like water. It didn't have any sweet.
Oh, really?
So I don't know what I did wrong, but I'm sure it was something.
And my dad had a peach tree, and it was. To see the peaches, you know what I'm saying, you know, just get small, the flower, then it goes to the bud, and then it, you know what I'm saying? And we have pecan trees, of course. I love pecans, and seeing them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is quite an experience to see.
For sure. And, you know, to attract more grocery stores, you need more people. You know, it's kind of, it goes backwards in your mind a little bit, but we got people in places. Hey, if we can really revitalize our neighborhoods, really keep people in their neighborhood, and hopefully get people moving back to their neighborhood, the grocery stores will come.
And that's the next question I want to ask you. Mobile is the second biggest city in the state. In my opinion, historically, if it weren't for Mobile, it wouldn't be Alabama.
That's true.
Because of our rivers.
And the port.
What would you do to attract more people to move to Mobile and make it the number one populated city in the state of Alabama?
I think that's a great goal, one that I share. I talked about it the other night at the forum. I talk about it often. We got to build a city that people want to go to. You know, we got to build a city that's fun, that's, you know, has a bunch of life. You know, we've got great culture and arts here. We need to highlight that. You know, we can be a place where people are dying to be. And I think we can do that by building some of the best entertainment. We're building our new arena. I was talking to the director with OVG just a few minutes ago, and they're excited. You know, I think you're going to hear something about a hockey team real soon.
I love the Mobile Mystic. I got some of their stuff.
That logo is tight.
I love it. I
It's
love
nice.
it. Bring back the Mobile Mystics. Let's do a reboot.
Look,
you know what I'm saying?
You won't get a fight from me on that.
Okay, right.
But look, they're going to build a practice facility where we can have like pee-wee hockey.
Oh, wow.
Where
That's
kids
awesome.
can go ice rink skate, in the wintertime.
Mm-hmm. That would be awesome during Christmas.
For sure, and I look at our riverfront as a great opportunity
Oh, yeah.
to create a place that people want to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you, and I harp on it all the time, but public transportation.
Let's get into that. Yeah, this is very, very mediocre in our city.
And I don't want to cast blame on anybody and say that's anybody's fault. I don't think that's a way to move forward.
Yeah.
But we got these big buses. We got a lot of little old roads. These
So you're
buses.
thinking downgrading?
I'm thinking trolleys.
Yeah.
Trolleys. We used to have trolleys.
We used to have streetcars.
We used to have streetcars,
Mhm.
and it'd take about $1 billion to bring streetcars back right now. We ain't got that yet,
Mhm.
but if we have some trolleys running some regular routes, frequent, you're not waiting at a bus stop
For an hour. I mean, that's mediocre, man.
You'll never have big ridership if it's not convenient.
Right.
If it's not regular,
You're not going to
reliable
support
service.
it because of inconvenience.
Yeah, I mean it's
Instead
like
of convenience, what it should be.
if I'm a young guy, just got out of high school, want to just go work a job,
Mm-hmm.
how am I going to be able to get up 2.5 hours early from my work, go sit at a bus stop for
That's exhausting.
But you'll wear yourself out. You'll be spending half your day traveling. If all of a sudden that same guy can say, "Hey, I know it's 11:20 and that trolley's going to be coming by on Broad Street, and I can go jump on it."
Right.
It's going to be riding down on Michigan Street at 11:10, and I can go catch it over there.
Mhm.
I can get up to Government Street, and it'll be going at 11 and 11:30. If we're running a trolley by areas every 30 minutes, we'll say, and people know. They will know. They'll just know. You don't have to pull out the map and figure out the route. You say, "Hey, I need to go up and down. So I need to get to Government. I need to go downtown to get to my job, where I'm working in the kitchen, where I'm hopefully working at the grocery store." Because, I learned so much from working my little job growing up, and working hard.
I started working when I was 12, so I get it.
Yeah, and you learn so much from
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. It feels good to have your own money, don't have to ask for it.
Right, and trading your time and efforts and getting a reward for that. That's a big
My
deal.
parents loved me because I never asked for anything when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Everything that I wanted expensive, I bought it myself. I sold newspapers, washed cars, sold merch. You know what I'm saying? At the age of 12 years old on Highway 45. That's why
You hustled.
I hustled. That's why I call myself J-45, me and my community. Because I've been a part of the Highway 45 community since I was 12 years old, hustling, being legit. You know what I'm saying? I could have went the other route, but I wanted to stay legit because I never wanted to get in trouble because my parents, I would never hit the last of it, you know what I'm saying?
And then you got to be looking over your shoulder all the time.
Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? I started out with a great upbringing. I was raised around a lot of, good people. My dad, he was a good golfer. He advocated for black golfers to play on the golf course in 1959 and won at Spring Hill College.
Man.
So, it's not on me, it's in me.
Yeah.
Being an activist and everything.
You're still living it out, too.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to keep the legacy going. I just wish I would have learned how to play golf, but I still can go to Top Golf and learn.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, we're going to go into the next question. What are your plans to stabilize and expand? Well, we pretty much talked about that. The transportation services in Mobile, disabled, unemployed, and low-income citizens are facing barriers, but negatively impact their livelihood.
Well, let's talk about that just a little more because, there's this one study that the Chamber did, and it said 31% of the people who aren't working in Mobile say it's because they don't have reliable transportation. Transportation is a great equalizing force. And I want kids exploring the city. I want people exploring the city. I don't want you to be tied just to your neighborhood. I want you to love your neighborhood, but I want you to be able to get out and find that opportunity and go hustle legally.
Absolutely.
Where you can and where the opportunity is. And man, if you could have a bus pass in your pocket, a trolley pass, it costs you $15 a month. and you can go wherever you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, talk about equalizing the workforce, equalizing opportunity, and also just connecting our city.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think some of the squabbles and trouble that we face sometimes, it's, you know, people feeling disconnected from each other, seeing each other as opposites or opponents.
Yeah.
And
Higher tax bracket.
yeah, and if all of a sudden, look, man, you know, we can get around this whole city easily, conveniently. You know, kids can go explore on Brooklyn by the Bay. You know, I heard this story a long time ago of kids living down the bay, and I've talked to people who have experienced that, living down the bay, living 500 yards from Mobile Bay, and never saw it with their eyes until much later in life.
Yeah.
After they got out of school.
And you're right there.
You're right there.
Mm-hmm.
And so if all of a sudden I got a trolley that'll run you over there, you can get your cane pole and a little tackle box and get out and fish, enjoy the outdoors, just be on the water. There's something special about being on the water. Really connecting our city, I think good public transportation can do that.
Absolutely, and it's needed. It just makes a healthy city. What is your detailed strategy for addressing gun violence among youth?
Yeah. You know, it's hard to get as detailed as you can, and I shy away from talking about police tactics, but that's part of it, right? You know, we got some young men that are, for whatever reason, out there, you know, committed to protecting what they got with violence. They're committed to being opponents, ops to other people, and I sure want to show them a way out. I want to show them the opportunity that is in this city right now to go get that electrician certificate at Bishop State and get out of that earning $60,000. You know, straight out of
that's good money in Mobile.
Man, you're talking about welders coming straight out of welding training, making $100,000. $100,000.
6 figures.
You know how long it took me to get there? Of course, I ain't making nothing right now, but you know, I think it has to be tied to opportunity. If we're going to affect youth gun violence specifically, we got to show our young people that, hey, there's another path. It's a safe path. It's a legal path. It's achievable. I don't care what your grades are in school. If you commit to it, you can do it. And man, you know, $60,000 a year for a young man, a young woman, that could be life-changing money. For many of the people I saw in my courtroom, it would have been life-changing money, and that's just the start. That's just where you're starting. That's not where you can go. If you're an electrician right now, and you got a couple other certified electricians working with you, and you got to operate in business, there is no better business to sell out there right now. They'll give you 9 times your money right now, where if I'm selling a restaurant, I'm at like 6. You know, that is a pathway to real entrepreneurship, real money. And the other thing I say is, you know, there are even kids that certainly could go to college. They've got the mind for it, they've got the skills for it, they ain't got the money for it. And you know, and this pathway through the trades is a real pathway now where you can work your way through school.
Absolutely.
You know, you can't do it flipping burgers like you used to be able to. School's a lot more expensive. You know, those little part-time jobs ain't going to get you through Alabama. But if you're fixing HVAC on the weekend, if you're spending half your day, you know, repairing electrical outlets and things for people, you can make real money. You can study. You can further your career and your dreams. And this is a real pathway forward. And man, you look at Mobile, we're going to be adding so many jobs. They need people.
Okay, and you know what? And those are skilled workers.
True.
Now you got some people that are unskilled that probably can't, for some reason, be skilled workers, and they're only getting paid $7.25 an hour. Let me ask you this: are you willing to raise the minimum wage in the city of Mobile?
You know, minimum wage is so tough. Okay, I can tell you that, you know, at my restaurants ain't nobody making $7.25. You know, we try to pay our people in a way that they can live a life. What I always worry about is inflationary pressure, because if you raise the minimum wage, well, that could raise the minimum cost of living.
Yeah.
You know, the market could react in a
The
negative way.
capitalists will raise it.
Look, you know,
raise it. So it's like a seesaw.
It is. And so, you know, what I say is, you know, there are a lot of businesses out there that would never pay that. they know that their people can't operate on that kind of money.
And then
But
there are some.
If they want to hire a 14-year-old, right, to give them a side gig, they know they might not be getting $14 an hour work out of that kid, but they can pay them $7.25 and give them an opportunity to learn and grow. And $7.25 to a 14-year-old living at home is a lot more money than $10 somebody out there living on their own. You know, so it, you know, in some ways I think the market is better to set that, but I hear it like it's impossible to live on minimum wage in today's economy.
It is, and I know some adults that are making $7.25. You know, probably because of mental issues or things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? And they have to work 2-3 jobs just to make it.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I asked, would you consider raising it?
You know, I look at places that have done that,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know that they've had the result that we would
we
want.
want.
You know, you look out in California, look at cost of living, and
It's 3 times here in Mobile.
man,
Yeah,
it's
it's
you know,
ridiculous. I think like one bedroom is like $2,000. Studio, it's $2,500 a month in California.
Yeah.
One studio. I'm talking about no room.
New
just-
York, you look like 4,500.
Yeah.
know, and here, look, I'd love to do as much as I can to increase the housing stock, increase the availability of affordable housing.
Yeah, there's a lot of concern about the housing.
We got to work on it, man. Because look, we can't have all these mobile jobs worked by non-mobilians. You know, we want mobile people
Good
working
point.
mobile jobs, and we got
The
to
Austin, the Airbus gigs. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
And look, there's more coming.
Right. Would you do like something to kind of control that more people get jobs? Is there a way that you could do that?
You know, I've heard that said. I don't think there is. Like, I can't force a business to hire certain people. You know, they got to hire the people that are going to do the work. I do think there are ways we can incentivize it. I think what we do too is I really want to focus on revitalizing our neighborhoods. We need a lot more people living in Mobile and working in Mobile.
Absolutely.
And we got a lot of neighborhoods that, man, I keep a map on my wall in the office next door, all the vacant property, all the blighted property.
Yes.
And there are a ton of areas right here near downtown and near Airbus and Austell, near these jobs that are coming. They need some love. You know, they need some rejuvenation. And I think we can do that in a lot of ways. Now, am I going to talk to Austell and Airbus and say, hey, man, why don't we build like the finest park right here? Why don't we increase the property value of this area for all the people living there right now by building a great amenity that's going to you're going to show the neighborhood, hey, we think a lot of you. Austell loves you, you know, and we're going to do this good thing for you. So we can have more kids growing up wanting to work at Austell.
Absolutely.
Wanting to work at Airbus, wanting to work for the Navy when we're building submarines.
Reaching out to the high schools saying, hey, we're going to take these many kids to come and
An
we do
apprenticeship program.
Yes, absolutely.
It's, you know, that takes collaboration, and that's what I hope
Partnerships.
to be. Yeah, a great collaborator. I'm not the loudest and the fieriest and all that, but that's not really how you reach agreements. You know, I want to reach agreements so that everybody can benefit.
Absolutely. And you said collaborator. I took a test. It was some kind of test to see what kind of person you're, a leader or such, and they said I was a collaborator. So
And here you are doing it.
yeah, absolutely. Living the dream. Okay, my friend Jennifer Boozer, she owned Alabama. She gave you a question. What is your stance on the decriminalization of cannabis in the city of Mobile? Would you support it?
I can tell you, you know, as a judge, if you walked into my courtroom, you had a bag of weed in your pocket and you got arrested, that under Alabama law, that could subject you to up to a year in jail. Do you know what the maximum penalty for that in my courtroom was?
What was it?
A $250 fine plus court costs.
So you're gonna come out probably about $700.
But I'd also let you do that in community service.
Mm-hmm.
And now I paid $10 an hour. That wasn't minimum wage, but
Right, yeah,
if you did an
yeah.
hour of community service, that was worth $10.
They get paid now?
No, it would work your fine.
Fine. Oh, okay. I'm gonna say okay. Hey, that's cool. That's awesome.
So,
yeah.
and you know what I loved about that is I had a lot of young folks that it took them some time to work off those
Community service.
community service hours. but it gave me a chance to talk to them and pour into them, speak life to them.
You can just throw them away.
No, man. Like I wanted, I suffered through some things as a kid, and it took coaches and family members to lift me up. I'll tell you, when you talk about decriminalization, my problem with it is we don't have a legal avenue to buy it. When decriminalization still feeds into the black market, which feeds into some negative things that are attached to the black market, like gun violence. When you look at it, if we had a way for it to be legal and you could walk into a well-lit store, show your ID and buy it, I'm here for it.
Well,
I'm here for it.
There were stores like Jennifer Booth. They had a store, the HB 445 killed the cannabis.
Horrible.
You got people that depends on it for their illnesses.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, everything.
Turn into that instead of these.
So you're not with the HB 445?
No. It killed friends of mine's business. I have friends that were in that business. It was giving people a legal avenue to enjoy the positive health benefits of cannabis. Not just marijuana, but cannabis as a group of plants and extracts. And that bill killed it, and it killed business.
Yeah, and why would you kill a business that the state desperately needs taxes off of? You know what I'm saying? Jennifer was devastated. You know what I'm saying?
I was kind of shocked.
And I sympathize. She fought and went to Montgomery, and they still passed that bill. And shout out to Jennifer, man. I hope you're doing good out there. Jennifer Booth, she's a good friend of mine.
Used to hear her on the radio a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah. She's a very tough advocate for cannabis and the wellness of
Who
people.
Sponsored that bill?
I don't know. I think still something. I forget.
I'll let you look it up.
Yeah. But
the worst part of it too, for me, as a judge, as a prosecutor, you know how many murder cases I had to work that involved a murder over a little bit of weed, over an ounce of weed, a weed deal gone bad. Tons. I'm talking like a third to half of the murders in our city are based over low-level, not drug
black
deals,
market,
not drug deals, weed deals, weed
in the black market.
In the black market. How many people got murdered at a Canabama? How many people got shot going into a gas station and coming out with a vape? I don't think any. I don't think any of that happened. So. When I'm seeing loss of life because of a black market, and then we had a market that needed some regulation, but not killing, not destroying. I'm not with that House bill.
Someone asked, will you keep the same staff in place when you become mayor? Why not?
I get this asked a lot, and I think you have to ask. I've made no promises to do that. Let me start by saying that. I've not promised anybody a job, even people working for me on my campaign, people that are at the mayor's office now, throughout the city. I hadn't promised anybody their job, but what I promised to do is give them all a fair evaluation. I'm focused on winning a race. I'm not in the mayor's office every day. I'm not in the staff meetings. I'm not at Public Works seeing what's going on. I've done ride-alongs. I know some of these people. I got some ideas, but my plan is to evaluate who's getting the job done and who's not. Who's pushing this city forward and who's holding us back. And we're gonna have some tough decisions to make. And but I think in many ways the city is moving in the right direction. And the last thing I want to do is throw people out on their keister who are out there getting the job done for the city, for the citizens. And frankly, if I see folks that aren't doing much for the city, if they're holding us back, they're probably going to have to get another job.
Okay, the pink slip, right?
I don't take any joy in that. Of course, I'll tell you,
but it
will be my goal to get them on track.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like just because somebody is, as a judge, I learned it every day. Just because somebody's on this track right now doesn't mean they have to stay there.
Okay. Also, the writer says, Mobile has done a great job attracting new businesses and industries, but it often feels like we put the cart before the horse. bringing in companies without a strong, coordinated pipeline to prepare our citizens for those jobs. As it stands, we're struggling to fill the roles already here, and even more are coming. What is your plans to ensure that the people of Mobile are truly prepared and positioned to take advantage of these opportunities?
Yeah.
How will you strengthen the workforce pipeline for our community, just not the businesses moving in?
Yeah. I hear that feels backwards, but it's hard to train a workforce for a job you don't know what it's going to be. So I do think the businesses coming in generally is what drives it.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, I've toured Bishop State, talked to the folks over at Coastal Community, AIDT. We are doing good trainings. We're just not training enough people.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have enough spots. We don't have enough openings. And when I look at the future of the city of Mobile, workforce development might be the most important thing we can focus on.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see more dual enrollment so that kids are exiting high school with that earning potential.
Mm-hmm.
I think that helps our neighborhoods, our people. It helps plug people directly into jobs. But I also want to help those people who have been out there struggling for 10 years after high school and they're ready for another opportunity. I want to help them get into Bishop State, Coastal. And from a high school perspective, working with the school system, like we need a dedicated workforce academy.
Partnership with the school.
Baldwin County built one. We've got so much industry that's coming here. We need to be training our kids in that same way because, look, college ain't for everybody.
It's not.
School is not for everybody.
It's not.
And I'll tell you right now, college is not the only avenue for success and wealth.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend who struggled just to get out of high school,
Mm-hmm.
but he went straight into plumbing and electrical. And I'm telling you, I went to college, I went to law school.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a whole lot more money in the bank than I do right now.
For a trade.
Through the trades. And so that's a real pathway to wealth. And frankly, if we're going to continue to attract industry and business, we got to show that we can fill the jobs.
Absolutely.
We can meet the needs. So
More training.
more training, getting people more workforce ready, straight through high school. But we've got the Craft Academy too, that's training people in construction skills, including welding, but carpentry, framing, sheetrock, all that work.
Yes.
We need all those people too.
Mm-hmm.
We got to build.
And see, we can implement it with the blight. You know what I'm saying? You have with your apprentice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To work on these blighted houses.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So apprenticeship programs, that's how that's how you used to become a lawyer. It was through apprenticeship programs. A carpenter, a stonemason, a brick mason. You went through an apprenticeship program, and the more I can do to encourage companies to build apprenticeship programs in, we have Airbus is doing one, and it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Spots are kind of limited. Let's amp these programs up, and let's get our children, our workforce, our adults workforce ready to move from that unskilled to skilled labor, because look, it's going to change their lives.
Mm-hmm.
I talk about revitalizing neighborhoods. If a whole lot more money is coming back to the campground because people are working good skilled labor jobs, it's going to make the campground better. Mm-hmm. It's going to make down the bay better. It's going to make Tomanville better.
Absolutely.
So let's get our people ready, and with public transportation.
Oh yes.
Let's help them get there.
Absolutely. What's your thoughts on the Fourth Amendment and anchor monitoring, the anchor monitoring that's been going on in the city?
I'll tell you right now, I participated heavily in the ankle monitoring.
Mm-hmm.
When I hear stories like people's case has been dismissed for 8 months and they were still on a monitor, I got a real problem with that. But my goal as a judge was always to get people back on the right track, on a good track. Mm-hmm. And so I'll tell you, if you came into my courtroom and you were accused of using a weapon in the commission of an offense, you were going to be on ankle monitoring, and you were going to be able to go to work if you had a job. You'd be able to seek employment. You're able to go to school. You're able to go to church. You can go see your doctor. You can see your lawyer. Other than that, you need to be at home. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you one thing, it's real hard to keep getting in trouble if that's all you're doing.
Yeah.
And so my goal was always to put people back on that right path.
Okay.
And I had some real success with it.
Absolutely.
I think that, the truth is, I don't think it violates the Fourth Amendment at all. because once you're in trouble, it's a condition of your release. It's either you sit in jail or you adhere to this restriction. And I don't know about you, but I'm going to choose that restriction any day over sitting in jail.
Right.
And so it's still a choice. It ain't, neither one of them are good choices. I get that. But, you know, I don't think it violates the Fourth Amendment.
Okay.
I think there's some other things with the Fourth Amendment we can talk about. But,
Okay, absolutely.
but no, you know, I used it as a tool to create a safer community. And if it was some nonviolent offense, you probably aren't going to be on ankle monitoring.
Yeah.
If it's a violent offense, you got a good chance to be on ankle monitoring.
Right. What made you want to run for mayor? Quit the judgeship and become mayor and run for mayor?
Well, I've said it a couple times. My goal is always to, you know, I've struggled. I get how people fall into this lifestyle that is the black market, right? I get that. I always want
Which I think is wrong, in my opinion.
you know, like what I can tell you is I don't have a great answer for that today, but it's
Yeah.
something I'm going to take a real hard look at. Because
Absolutely.
you're right, because, I mean, what we have to do, I think some of our older policing tactics, you know, in many ways alienated the public from the police. It created a divide between the people that the police are meant to protect and, you know, the police who are out there protecting them. We got to rebuild that. Because, you know, look, we do need our police officers out there protecting us from bad things, but we got to make sure they're out protecting, right? And
Absolutely.
not just serving them.
And there are some that are that protect and serve, and this is my little phrase. And there's some on slave patrol duties. These new prisons that they're building, I feel like Meemaw, which is Governor Ivey, is making them for like plantations for cheap and free labor. You know, that's just me. I'm a conspiracy. Yeah. I'm trying to get out.
I hear that. I understand that. You know, I don't know that I've seen anything to disagree or agree with you
Yeah.
on that. But, you know, I think we've got to look, man, if we're taking people's freedom away, and my father's freedom was taken away because, you know, back before stand your ground was a law, back before stalking was a law. And when our family faced danger, he did what he had to do to protect us. And he got prosecuted for it because the law was wrong. Now it's not. When you look at some of our laws, it's like, who are they helping? Who are we helping? By, you know, marijuana that I don't think anybody's ever overdosed on in their life.
Right.
Who is it helping that's illegal? It seems to me it's helping the people that are willing to do illegal stuff to earn money.
Yeah.
It's hurting people who are looking for a relief from their pain that's not going to leave them addicted, you know, and dying because of the medicine. We got to look at our laws and who are they helping, and we got to look at how we're enforcing those laws. Are we helping our community by drastically enforcing? You know, would it help our community to lock up every person with a bag of weed in their pocket for a year of their life? Would that help or hurt our community?
It would hurt our community.
I think it would.
Well, I'm glad you got that mindset. Let me ask you this. What is your biggest concern in Mobile, and what is your plan to solve the solution for it?
You know, biggest concern to me truly is youth gun violence. I think it threatens our ability to attract industry. It threatens the ability for kids to learn within our schools. If they're concerned about that, and worst of all, it's taking young people's lives far before their time. We have to do it in many ways, but we have to do it by coming together as a community and providing resources to the kids that are the most at risk. And yes, that's the city, but it's also our faith community. It's our nonprofit community. And, you know, we had to make a lot of hard financial choices in Mobile over the last 12 years. We were in a real bad financial spot. We're getting better. Okay. You know, and when you look at a lot of our funding cut to Boys and Girls Club and other things, it's been about 12 years. A lot of those kids that wouldn't be in that time, they're the shooters of today. So are we seeing the negative effects of limiting social services to kids that are at risk? I think you can argue that we are. We need to get more after-school programs in place. We need to be teaching men. You know, we need more mentorship. We really need more leadership. Because like you were hustling legally, and you knew that you weren't going to go down that road. It takes leadership to do that. It takes leadership to say, I'm not going to hit this lick with you. You know, I'm not going to go, you know, run this pack.
Because of consequences.
Because of the consequences. And the truth is, especially young men, they're not that good at weighing consequences. Right. Our brains don't develop to a point where we are fully mature in appreciating risk, danger, consequence till the ages of 25 to 28. And if you look at the people that are the shooters of today, 14 to 24.
Well, I think a lot of the internet and social media has a lot to do with it. That's another show.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
But I got one last question. Why should I vote for you?
Because I'm the man for the job. Because I love this city and I love the people of this city. And my goal is for Mobile as a city to reach its full potential. The only way that Mobile will reach its full potential is if the people of Mobile reach their full potential. If the schools of Mobile reach their full potential, if the businesses of Mobile reach their full potential. And there's no way we can do that without coming together.
Absolutely.
We will never get there unless we work as one together.
Like JFK said, don't ask what you can do for your country, don't ask what the country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
I love that statement. And that's it, you know, and it's like...
Same with the community.
And I think Mobile's special because we have people here who love Mobile, who love this city, love what it's done for them. And they look, it's easy to point out the problems. It's a lot better to be a part of the solution.
Take the initiative.
Look, man, if you see a problem, let's help fix it. Let's work together to fix it. And we got problems, man. We're a big city. We're never gonna not have issues to correct. But don't let that wear you down. Don't let that make you lose sight of all the reasons we have to be optimistic.
Absolutely. And there it is, Spiro Cheriogotis.
Nailed it.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? He's running for mayor. I'm asking everyone to go out and vote August the 26th. This is 45 Live Podcast, Keeping It Real in Mobile, on the People platform. I am your host, J-45, Mr. Key to the City, Everything Pretty, the host of the Gulf Coast, the Alabama Hippie, east of the muddy mighty Mississippi, and we out of here. It's hammer time. Bow, Gia.
I like that.
Oh,